Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Believe You Me podcast. As you know, we have over 100 episodes available on demand whenever you want them at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Subscribers not only get access to the on-demand library, but you get pre-release episodes, ad-free episodes, uncensored episodes, the live chat message boards, and many other member benefits. Right now, go to gasdigitalnetwork.com and use the promo code BYM for a 14-day free trial.
Believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
And new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael "The Count" Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Well, Lewis. New Year's Eve, 2018. What a quick year this has been. My word. A lot of change. A lot of things changing for you, for me, for everybody. New Year's Eve, bitch. What are you doing?
I'm excited, man. Tonight we got a great live show at the Creek and Cape. If you're watching live on Gas Digital, you could watch that at 11 p.m. The best countdown show in the land, Legion of Skanks Live. But yeah, we're just going to get drunk. Take it a little easy. Maybe get drunk, take a couple painkillers, nothing crazy.
Okay. There is an opioid epidemic going on right now, Lewis. We don't sign off on that or condone that behavior on the Believe You Me podcast. But yeah. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Lots to talk about. Just this morning, we had Floyd Mayweather competing against Tenshin, whatever his name is, out in Japan. That ended quickly. We'll look into that later. Of course, UFC 232 at the weekend. Jon Jones is now the light heavyweight champion again. We got the best bits of the Believe You Me coming at the end of the show, and no doubt some other good stuff. But Lewis, 2018, generally people make New Year's resolutions. And, it gets kind of annoying when you look on Instagram and you see everybody with the new year, new me, and all that type of stuff. But I do applaud that. That is a good thing. It is a good thing to want to improve yourself. Just that a lot of people don't really follow through with that. But myself, I say this every year, but, I do want to improve myself also. I know you're shocked, Lewis. You think, wow, Michael Bisping, how could he possibly improve? The guy's perfect. But you'd be surprised.
You can't get any better than the best. So I don't really know what you're going to do. Maybe, you know what it is? Maybe in a weird way, make yourself a little bit less great and you could understand what it's like to live, through the eyes of the normal everyday man. Maybe that's a goal for the year.
No, it's okay. I look through the eyes of the normal everyday man when I do this show because I'm looking right at you. Oh. I'm kidding. I'm
pretty extraordinary.
No. This year in February, in just over 8 weeks' time, I turned 40 years old. So my goal is when I turn 40 years old, I want to be in the best shape of my life. Because a lot of people kind of get depressed. Oh, I'm 40 and all this and that. It's not bothering me at all. I'm actually looking forward to it. My 30s were fantastic. My 40s, no doubt.
We're men, though. That's a different thing, though, because women... we age like fine wine. We're dudes. We get older, we become more attractive. We become... just life experience. We hold ourselves to a high, in a different way. Women, they start becoming self-conscious. They start falling apart. So 40 is not really a big thing for men. I think 50, 60, then you start to feel like you're falling apart a little.
Yeah, but I do want to be in the best shape of my life. So I'm going to enjoy myself tonight. We're going out with some friends later just for a very, very civil bite to eat. But we're just going to have a couple of drinks. We'll be back here taking it nice and easy.
Be back by 12:20.
I'll probably be back before 12.
Yeah.
My wife, she doesn't like to stay out late, but 2018, I did a great job of bringing down my alcoholic intake. Okay, my alcohol intake did reduce. This year, I want it to reduce further. Not that I have a drinking problem, but I would like to drink less. I did spend too many days in 2018 waking up with a hangover. And I can't stand it. And certainly now that I'm 40 years old, you start thinking about your health and your long-term health. I'm like, okay, I feel like my liver has taken enough punishment from the age of 15. That's 25 years of hardcore getting smashed every weekend. You know what I mean? Now, this year, as I said, wasn't like that. But this is the year. I turned 40. Lifestyle changes, Lewis. Lifestyle.
Well, here's the truth. You feel better when you're not drinking heavily, fucking eating really bad. Like, I'm really fat right now, and that's my New Year's resolution. And I do it every year. I have to just get back into shape. And every year I gain weight around the Christmas time because I eat tons of cookies, tons of cake, tons of pie. My son's birthday was a couple days ago. So not only do we have all the Christmas treats, but then we have, and he's like a fucking woman himself because he's got a birthday week celebration. So every day it's a new family member coming to visit. There's new presents. So it's been a week of nonstop eating. So I've probably just this week alone put on 10 pounds. But I have to get back in shape. But the way I feel, forget the way that I look, the way that I feel when I'm eating healthy, if I have a salad while I'm eating, I'm like, this sucks. But when I'm walking around, if I want to go on a jog or if I want to climb a flights of stairs, in New York City, you walk a lot, you climb a lot of stairs, subway stairs, you just feel so much better. And I don't know why I'm not more addicted to that feeling than I am addicted to the feeling of shoving cake into my face. I know I feel better. Like I can consciously go, no, that feels way better. But for some reason, I can't just get over that little hump.
I say this to my wife a lot, and it sounds like such an obvious thing, but I say, man, it feels good to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To feel healthy, to know that you're following a strict diet, or not a strict diet, because you know in everyday life people want to have a little bit of fun, but exercise some discipline. Generally, what I try and do is Monday to Friday, be disciplined and enjoy myself at the weekend. You know what I mean? Because you have got to live your life, and we're normal people, and everything in moderation. So generally, that's what I try and do, and it feels great. You know, I'm feeling good, all that good stuff. But yeah, drink less, be more productive. Get a hard line wired in for the fucking podcast. That'll be one of them, Lewis. This time next week, this room here, I'm transferring it into a studio. Okay, so. And there you go. There's one for you guys. Fast on the fucking fire button. Fast on the pounds. Yeah. Hopefully. Now, listen, I am a man of many words and a man of little actions. So I'm saying, hopefully this time next week, because I just had this thought as I was in the shower. This week, I don't have much on. This year is going to be very different. I'm going to be traveling a lot for ESPN. I'm going to start my commentary work as well as all the other stuff I want to do. We'll be doing 2 shows a week, but I was gonna rent a studio out, but I'm gonna change all this. I'm gonna put all the gaming stuff up in the kids' rooms and turn this into what I need. So
you could easily, the amount of space forward. Michael Bisping had, you guys got to understand, okay? The man lives in a fucking mansion, okay? He has, and it's not only just a mansion, it's a mansion with a lot of open area. Like it's all like the dining room, it's a big, beautiful wooden oak table, but it's in the center of a massive room with nothing else. There's just like nothing there. It's a huge, and it's very classy, and it looks like it's supposed to be that way, but you could easily just chop off 150 square feet and fucking build a studio. And I mean, in every room of his house, you can build a studio.
The dining room table is made of reclaimed wood from an old bridge in Australia. Okay? It ain't no fucking oak. What are you talking about? That's reclaimed, bitch. Came from Australia. That sounds like such an arsehole thing to say, but
that table was nice though. I like the way your fucking house is, but it's fucking, you have a huge house. It's cavernous. It's so fucking big.
And we don't need a house this big. We really don't. We are trying to downsize. When we moved here, we loved the house. It's got a great pool and all the rest of it. And that was one of the things when we moved to America, we were very conscious. We were taking the children away from their friends and their family, you know, for our own personal endeavors. So we wanted to get a house with a pool because in England, nobody has, all right, a few rich people have indoor pools, but nobody has, generally people don't have pools because the weather isn't good enough. So we said, okay, we have to get a house with a nice big pool. So at least, you know, because they were like 5 and 8 at the time. And, you know, they'd love playing in a pool, and it's new and it's appealing and it's novel. So that's part of the reason why we moved into this house. But now we realize it's too big. But it is New Year's Eve, and people don't want to hear me going on about what a great big house I've got and, oh, I need to downsize because I sound like a wanker. Okay. What are your New Year's Eve resolutions real fast, Lewis? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just to get back in shape, but also to, I have really bad ADD, and you know, I've started seeing a new therapist. I'm no longer on medication for it at all. I'm trying to do things very naturally. I want to sort of just get a lot better at organizing my life, keeping a to-do list, putting one foot in front of the other, actually completing tasks. Because as you know, we have Gas Digital over here, but we have other sides of it. There's the ad sale side. There's the merchandising side. I run a comedy festival every year. I'm a stand-up comedian that tours all over the country. There's all these other elements And it just gets to be a little bit overwhelming, and it's very easy to sit in front of my TV and play Fortnite and try to forget about everything else that's going on. It's just such an easy distraction. So I'm trying to just be more proactive. Every morning, get up with a purpose. Spend the first hour of every day doing nothing but getting certain tasks out of the way that have to be accomplished in the beginning of the day, and being a little bit more regimented. I did it with my stand-up comedy special. I did it with the Alice Mania fight, where I regimented a schedule. And, you know, I know that I can accomplish a lot when I put my mind to something. And when I can just say, hey, put one foot in front of the other and keep on moving down that field, I think I can do a lot of great things. So that is my major goal, is to sort of put a lot of that stuff in my life and align a lot of that.
For me, 2018 obviously was the year that I retired from fighting, which was a big thing for me, because that was my security blanket for so long. I'd always been a professional fighter. That was always my security blanket. If I needed money, if we needed whatever, I always knew I could fight. And I always thought, even when I was done, I thought even when I'm done in the UFC, you know, I could still fly out to Japan or somewhere and, you know, get a grand for fighting some fucking bum, you know what I mean? Because I've got a name in fighting. So to retire from that for me was a big decision. Of course, you know, I've had injuries. My eye was an issue and my body's a mess. It really is. So one of my big things in 2019 is to take care of my body. I've got knee issues. I've got shoulder issues. I've got a really, really bad neck issue. They wanted to, a few years ago, I injured my neck and they wanted to come in through the front of my neck, replace a disc and all this type of stuff. And I obviously shied away from that, but that's getting worse. So I'm going to take care of all these things. 2019 is the year that I rid myself of all these stupid injuries, start taking yoga, take better care of my body. As I say, I'm going to minimize the drinking. My goal, now I may fail, is after tonight, in March, I go out to London for the UFC event. I go out to London because I'm filming a documentary, Michael Bisping, built for this. Keep an eye out for that one. And we also have some live shows as well, Lewis, coming up. So my goal is to not drink not have a single drink after tonight, of course. After tonight there will be some drinking, but after tonight, to not drink again until I'm in England, reunited with some old friends. That's my plan. And by then I'll lose a lot of weight. Hopefully, and look good, because I got to recreate some of the fight scenes and stuff for this documentary, you know, in a pair of shorts. So I want to look good. But anyway, that's enough about me.
I will fillet Harrington on camera if you don't have a drink between now and March.
You think I can't do it, Lewis?
I know you can't do it.
I used to go entire training camps without a drink. Ye of little faith, Lewis.
When?
Little faith.
When? Not since I've known you.
If I put my mind to it, I can achieve anything. And there's a lesson for everybody, because anybody can achieve anything if they put their mind to it. Now, of course, I'm not talking about fucking being an astronaut if you're dumb as fuck, because that ain't going to happen. You know, but if you conceive it and you believe it, you will achieve it.
Michael Bisping said it best.
And as our oh, yeah. As Luke Rockhold said it best. But
yeah, what happened to him at the end of that?
At the end of what? Conceiving, believing,
he
and achieving.
believed.
He got knocked the fuck out and bounced about like a fucking pinball. There
so
you go.
Maybe we're gonna go. We're gonna go with different advice, guys. You know what? Let's not conceive it.
No. Do conceive it and put it into motion. You know, but not everything's believable. You know, like,
you know what it is. He didn't really believe it. He was talking all that shit. Luke conceived it. He didn't really believe it.
I'd be embarrassed.
He's a samurai. He's a samurai, bro. He's a samurai. Anyway, all right. So where were we? What's on the docket, Lewis?
Lots to talk about. Obviously, 232 happened this past weekend. Jon Jones makes his triumphant return to the UFC. Also, co-main event surprising. Not surprising. I fucking called it. If you guys listen back to the last show, I said put your money on Ms. Amanda Nunes because everybody's got a time. But we also have a victor from this past weekend. Michael Chiesa is calling in. Do we want to just get him on the line now before we get into the rest of the card?
Yeah, let's get Michael Chiesa on the phone. Obviously, Chiesa, great guy, actually. I worked with him over at Fox a couple of times. Very, very likable person. I like Michael Chiesa a lot. Great fighter. Moved up to welterweight for the first time. His last fight was against Anthony Pettis at lightweight. He missed weight. He said he was never going to fight at 155 again. And I don't know if you've ever stood next to him, but he's a huge man. And how he would make lightweight would blow my mind. Anyway, He did the right thing. He moved up to welterweight. He's a big dude. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", and he's not the skinniest guy either. So how he made 155 was beyond me. But moved up to 170. He was taking on Carlos Condit in his first fight. Now, Carlos Condit, I mean, he's a true legend of the game. He's fought a who's who of mixed martial arts, and he's also a bad motherfucker. Carlos Condit is a true fighter. He's not one of those guys that when I say there's a few people in the UFC these days that don't really belong there, that doesn't apply to Carlos Condit. He's the fucking man. He's beat Nick Diaz, fought GSP, Rory McDonald, Robbie Lowell. The list goes on. The guy's been in there with everybody. He's a class act. He's an OG. So I thought for those reasons, is he on the line?
No, he's on.
Yeah, he's got. We'll get to him. I thought for those reasons that Carlos Condit might be too much for Michael Chiesa, but man, did he prove me wrong? He went out there, looked sensational, took him down, was all over him, and got a really unique submission in. I think it was the second round, but I believe the man of the moment is on the phone. Michael Chiesa, are you there?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You're on the line right now. You got Bisping. Can you hear Michael okay?
Michael, I can't hear Bisping, no.
Mike, do you want to try to?
Yeah. What's up, Michael? How you doing, buddy? Are you there?
I am. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, listen, first of all, we were just talking about your fight at the weekend. Absolutely sensational, my friend. Congratulations. I thought you might have troubles taking him down, but man, your wrestling looked outstanding.
You know, the wrestling's always been there. I mean, it's just hard when you go in there and compete after you've really kind of handicapped yourself after that big weight cut to just execute the way you do in the gym. So I feel like I'm actually going to be able to fight to my full potential. And, I will admit I did surprise myself. I didn't think I'd get the takedowns as easily as I did, but that's a good sign for me. That's a good affirmation that this was the right move to go up to 170.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Carlos Condit is definitely a good measuring stick. And, I'm a massive Carlos Condit fan, but you went out, as I know you are as well. I saw pictures of you wearing one of his shirts back in the day. But you went out there, you took him down over and over again. And it was a very unique submission that you got him with, kind of like a modified Kimura.
Yeah. And that goes back to just what I was saying before. There's a lot of things I do in the gym that I haven't got to show in my fights. I just haven't been fighting my capacity. When I'm in the gym and I'm strong and I haven't really just totally just murdered myself with that weight cut, I do a lot of joint submissions. I go for a lot of Kimuras. I go for a lot of arm bars, a lot of power type moves, and it's something that was very thought out. You know what I mean? When someone gets trapped against the wall and I get two hands on that wrist, it kind of prevents me from getting all the torque I need. So I usually just keep them where they're at and just stretch their arm above their head straight. It almost looks like I spun his arm in a 360. When you look at the picture, it looks like he's waving, but it's with his shoulders spun around.
Yeah, now Mike had just mentioned the picture of you wearing, somebody tweeted it out, a picture of you wearing a Carlos Condit shirt, which is, kind of hilarious for that picture to come out fight week, but you were legitimately a fan of his. Was that something that got into your head at all going into the fight? Were you kind of like this is somebody that I've respected, I've looked up to, and did that affect you, or wouldn't the fight just happen to just kind of turn into another opponent?
No. If anything, it affected me in a positive way. When you're a fan of a fighter, and I'm not just saying this, when you're a fan of a fighter as a fan, and you're a fan of a fighter as a fighter, it's always the same thing. It's under the pretense that you think this person's really good. You recognize that they have good skills that you think are, very legitimate. You know what I mean? And that's what makes you a fan of a fighter. It's their style, it's what they do, it's their weapons. So being a fan of Carlos Condit, in being a fan of him, I know he is a versatile fighter. The guy is dangerous. He does damage from any position. The longer a fight goes, he's still in it. You know what I mean? He's a dog. He's been in a lot of wars. He's as tough as they come. So with all that being said, I knew what I had to go up against, so it made it really easy to prepare hard. But I will tell you what was in my head. It's just the fact that I haven't won a fight in 2.5 years, over 2.5 years, and just this year I've had. You know what I mean? It's been a very tumultuous year. 2 fights in a row, missing the Brooklyn fight, losing to Pettis, missing weight. There was a lot of shit in my head that was really starting to weigh me down, and I definitely had to fight that up until I got in the octagon and the fight started.
Yeah, and you know, Michael, I was just saying before you came on, I was talking about when I met you at the Fox Studios. I couldn't believe the size of you. So it's incredible you used to get down to lightweight. How much weight would you have to cut week of the fight to make lightweight?
Well, surprisingly, it wasn't a ton. There's a few times, like before I got with Lockhart and Leaf, you know, I was starting to get bigger, and it's not that I was eating bad, but I didn't know how to maintain my weight. I didn't know the science behind it. So there was fight weeks where I would show up at like 180 pounds, you know, and that's not even necessarily like waterlogged. That's like 180 pounds that I would just have to kill myself to cut. But I was really young. For somehow I could do it. We could get IVs. You know, it was that's kind of where everybody was at that point in time. A lot of people would cut huge amounts of weight because they had the IV to fall back on. But once I almost missed weight for Jim Miller, and I hired Lockhart and Lee. So I these last few fights, I would show up for fight week at about 170 pounds, 172. But that's after I've already worked my ass off to get that low. You know what I mean? That's after I've ran 50 miles a week in road work, you know what I mean? On top of my training and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So it never made it easier.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, and then you come up to 170 and you look sensational. And I think it's crazy, this martial arts, and you'll probably agree after the weekend, that everybody cuts so much weight, you know? And I understand the mentality as well. If everybody else is doing it, then you have to do it. I'm hoping 2019 is the year where people start realizing, hey, let's all fight at our natural weight classes a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure you felt way better. I'm sure you felt stronger. And in training camp, I'm sure you recovered way better as well.
Oh, dude, this was the first camp. I put in a lot more work than normal because instead of having to run all the time to get my weight down, I was focused on getting bigger. So this was a harder training camp. It was almost 2 times longer than a normal one. I did a 20-week lifting cycle before I started my 8-week camp. And I didn't have one injury. My body was fully healthy, fully nourished. I wasn't stressed out. When it came down to cut on Thursday night of fight week, I was only 7 pounds over. Woke up and cut a pound the day of weigh-ins. It was about as easy as I was on weight for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Easy. And I agree with you, Mike. I hope that next year is the year where people start to make that jump. It would be great for the sport and good for the fights. More exciting fights. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You had mentioned at the end of the fight. I apologize for forgetting. You had called somebody out. Was it Magny, Neil Magny?
Yes, it was Neil Magny.
Yeah. Is there a reason you want to fight him?
Look, I know Magny's the guy that kind of gets picked on a lot. A lot of people kind of call him out. That's not what it is. I'm just looking at the landscape of the division. I know he's in the bottom half of the top 15. And the guy's got big wins. He's beat Kelvin Gastelum. He beat Hector Lombard. Like, this guy's beat legitimate fighters. He's a threat. You know what I mean? And I think that's just a good test for me to see where I'm at in the rankings. That's not like I think the guy sucks. Anybody in the top 15, I think is a damn good fighter. So I'm not out here looking for easy matchups. I'm just looking for the fights that make sense. You know, people don't realize when you get on the mic after a fight, if you ask for a matchup that makes sense, you usually get it. You're making the matchmaker's jobs easier. You know what I mean? So that's why I asked for Magny. I just think that's a fight that makes sense.
And you did the right thing, Michael. I mean, people that have that platform, they win a fight, they have the microphone, they have the attention of the world. When they don't call somebody out, you know, it does annoy me a little bit. And I think Magny is a great fight. As you say, he's got some fantastic wins. And, you know, it's a very winnable fight for you as well. We'll push you up in the rankings. And, you know, you never know. You keep this up next year, it will be a huge year for you. But it's New Year's Eve, my friend. So we don't want to keep you too long. But what are you doing tonight? What are your New Year's resolutions? What parties are you going to? Don't hold back on me, Chiesa. Come on, give me some fun stuff.
Okay, I'll give you some fun stuff. Hey, my plans for tonight, I'm going to get Hawkeye drunk. I'm probably not going to remember the ball dropping. I'm going to be somewhere in Idaho. I might wake up outside. My New Year's resolutions for 19, I'll give you some pretty cookie-cutter stuff. Obviously, I want to go undefeated. I want to be a contender, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I just want to make more of an impact on the sport. You know what I mean? We're moving to ESPN. I'm getting to, you know, I'm 31 years old now, Mike. Like, how old were you when you started getting more desk work and you were able to get the opportunities that you have? You know, so it's time for me to start. I feel mature enough to where I can balance all aspects of the sport. I feel like I can do what you did. You know, at one point you were a world champion working behind the desk. and all of that. I feel like I'm fit for the bill. So those are my goals for 2019. Be more like Mike Bisping.
Well, there you go. Listen, one can dream, Chiesa. One can dream. But in all seriousness, I mean, you came on to the Fox Sports last year, and I thought you did an absolutely outstanding job. So I thought we'd be seeing a lot more of you. I was about your age when I started like trying to do all this stuff outside of the octagon and trying to build my platform. So you're doing the right thing, my friend. Lewis, I see you itching to say something.
Well, no. I mean, I actually was, I was thinking about something else, but as you mentioned that's a really interesting point as well. I mean, is that something that you're thinking about now? You mentioned being 31 years old. Nobody looks at you as a guy who's in the, latter half of his career. People think of you as a young contender, but is it, how much of your mind is thinking about after fighting now, being the age you are?
Look, I'll tell you now, when I was still at 55, these last couple of years, I was definitely starting to think about the back nine of my career. But I'll tell you what, after this first fight at 70, I feel like I'm starting a whole new game. You know what I mean? So everything's going to work itself out. I'm in a good place in life, in terms of like having my finances set and stuff. I haven't been stupid with my money. I don't live in California, so I save a lot more money than most fighters.
Yeah.
But this is just something I want to do, and it's all about maturity. I'm mature enough to do it. You know what I mean? I'm mature enough now to where I could balance. I could pull off the balancing act of working behind the desk, doing more proactive stuff outside the octagon, and as well as keep working towards my goal of becoming a world champion. Look, Mike Bisping, I know you're a special individual. Not everybody can be like you, but I'd like to think that, you know what, maybe when I hit my mid to late 30s, I'm going to be a world champion just like you. So, we'll see what's in store for me. But I'm definitely not on the back nine of my career anymore.
No, for sure. I totally agree, Mike. I think you got a very, very bright future. You're smart. You know what you're doing. You're an excellent fighter. You just had an amazing win. And you did. I just wanted to say you've done the right thing moving up to 170, because if I can tell you anything from my career, my last fight, I was in Shanghai. All right, I took it short notice, but I remember I was constantly making 185, and that would fucking kill me. It really. And I remember walking into the bathroom at my hotel one day, and I just had my boxer shorts on, and I looked in the mirror, and whilst I looked devastatingly handsome, I was like, wow, look at you. You look so fucking tiny and puny and skinny. And making 185 for the last God knows how many years had taken years of my career and just diminished a lot of my power. It really did. So I think you've made the right choice going to 170. You'll have a lot more success. Lewis, he's got his hand up. Go ahead, Lewis. Make my day.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, with the move up to 170, there's been so much talk about a possible 165-pound division. Is that something that you're interested in, or do you love 170?
I might be more interested in 175, honestly.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? I'm not. I mean, you saw it. I'm a big welterweight. You know what I mean? I'm not a guy I'm not an in-between fighter anymore. I'm a definite welterweight. So I'm fine with 170 right now, man. I'm in my home. I know I was a proponent for 165. I'm not pulling back on what I've said in the past. I do believe we need more weight classes, but I am 100% happy where I'm at. And, I can't really say where I'd go. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm very focused on my division now.
Great.
Well, we wish you nothing but luck in the new year, Michael. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome on here anytime. Hopefully see you in the octagon soon. Go out tonight, get blind drunk. Have one for me, get wasted, wake up naked, freezing cold, hopefully without hypothermia. Live to tell the story. And all the best, my friend. Have a great year. Happy New Year.
Hey, thank you, Michael. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All the best, buddy.
Michael Chiesa, classy guy.
I'm telling you, he's a great guy. I really enjoyed his company, and I think he just joined the phone call as I was talking about how much I liked Carlos Condit, and I thought he was gonna win. He's probably like, this guy's a fucking asshole. I'm like, no. If he was on 2 minutes earlier, he would have heard all the good things I had to say. But
no, I didn't put him through until you were done, Mike.
Oh yeah, he didn't hear you until we were done.
No, it's all good. It's all good, Shannon. I'm joking anyway. But well, that was Michael Chiesa versus Carlos Condit. But the two big fights at the weekend, which, by the way, I just want to give a special shout out. And do we want to get Alexander Volkanovski on the show? I was messaging with him yesterday. He had a massive win over Chad Mendes.
Retired him.
Fight.
Not retired him. That's the wrong term, I guess, as we've discussed in the past.
No, but Chad Mendes retired, right?
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Okay. Well, listen. First of all, let's. We need some kind of. We have a bam. We have a Shane Bell. We need some kind of congratulations thing for in future or something. To salute Chad Mendes because all right, he tested positive and I didn't like all that. But other than that, he's been a stalwart. He's been a great addition to the UFC roster. Been a part of some amazing fights over the years. And Chad Mendes, we salute you over here at BYM. Enjoy your retirement, my friend. May it be fruitful. May it be successful. And may bring you. Oh, all right, okay. It's New Year's Eve. I'm liking this.
It's a retirement party. It's a retirement party for Chad Mendes. Yeah.
I need a beer. It's New Year's Eve. Let's go. Oh, Chad Mendes.
Shit. He's a handsome guy too. Look at those abs.
Chad's handsome.
Shannon, what do you think?
Would you bang him?
Oh, she would bang him. Shannon's a fucking. She's a Staten Island animal. Yeah, she would. You get a couple drinks in Shannon, she's ready to rock. Somebody sent me a message as well. I mean, I'll show you. I'm not even lying about this. Hey, I found your producer Shannon's Instagram. I just masturbated to completion. Thank you. Swear to God.
Nice.
And Shannon regularly gets dick pics from fans.
Yeah, thanks to you, Mike.
Yeah. Well, listen, I thought you could do with some love in your life. I thought, listen, send Shannon some dick pics, but I haven't got any. What the fuck, guys? Equal opportunities, gender equality, and all that jazz. Feel free. Send me a dick pic.
I can't wait till the headline tomorrow. MMA Mania. Michael Bisping asks fans for dick pics.
Begs for dick pics. All right, so let's move on. But seriously, congratulations, Chad Mendes, and congratulations, Volkanovski. But that was a great fight.
All right, guys, real quick, let's just take a moment and talk about one of our incredible sponsors, which is Blue Chew. I love Blue Chew. It is a performance enhancement drug for the bedroom. This is not if you have erectile dysfunction. I know some people get confused about that. This is basically a chewable version of either Viagra or Cialis. It's the same active ingredients as those drugs. So basically, it gets your penis hard. It gives you an erection. It makes sex that much better for yourself or your wife or husband or whoever else that you're having sex with. I live by it now, Michael Bisping. I'm telling you right now, I used to enjoy sex. Now I love sex.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm happy to hear. And every time we do this, you have to tell me that. And I just have this image in my mind of you having sex that I can't erase. But that said, Blue Chew is fantastic. It has the exact same ingredients that, all the well-known ones like Viagra and Cialis that they have. They are chewables, so they work faster than pills, actually up to twice as fast. You can take Blue Chew on an empty stomach, on a full stomach. Cheaper than those other two, by the way, the Viagra and the Cialis. Listen, it's like this. If sex was an Olympic sport, this would be banned. You know why? Because it'd be out there banging like Luis J. Gomez.
Exactly.
Like a crazy animal. It only takes a few minutes to get involved with this as well. You don't have to go to the doctor. You don't need to get a prescription or have an appointment. You just go online, you fill out the form. As I said, no doctor visit, no talking and saying, I can't get it up or anything like that. So, if this appeals to you, if you want to improve your bedroom experience, if you want to show your lady or your man a great time, then we certainly recommend this. And Lewis, tell the good people about the offer we have.
Right now, go to bluechew.com. That is BLUECHEW.com. And you get your first order for free when you use the promo code BYM. You pay $5 shipping, goes right to your house. There's no doctor's office. You do it all online. It shows up to your door in discreet packaging. Nothing to explain, no questions asked, and it's free. I mean, you try it out, see if you like it. This might change your sex life. I'm telling you right now, it changed my sex life. I love Blue Chew. Everyone here at Gas Digital, like 5 people at the offices have Blue Chew prescriptions now because it is that great, and we talk about it so much. So once again, that is bluechew.com. Use the promo code BYM to get a free trial of Blue Chew. All right, let's get back into it.
2 big things at the weekend, of course. Let's start with the co-main event. Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. I mean, wow, they're calling it a huge upset. I guess it was. Bantamweight champion versus featherweight champion. Cyborg, very, very intimidating. Amanda Nunes was good, but, she's stepping up to face what they call the baddest woman on the planet. And, when they squared up, when you saw them in the center of the octagon, they're similar height, but Amanda Nunes looked fucking thick, man. She looked way thicker than Cyborg.
But not muscular. She just looked like, it was almost like a Daniel Cormier. It's like she looked like she just enjoyed not having to cut weight.
She looked like a Mark Hunt thick. You know what I mean? Where Cyborg was like Arnold Schwarzenegger thick, but she was Mark Hunt thick.
She was Danny DeVito thick.
There was more junk in the trunk. There was more flab on the ab. There was more
cushion for the pushing.
Cushion for the pushing. There was more. I don't know. There's more. There was more weight. There was more weight there. But holy shit, man, what a fight! So at the Fox Studios, we hold on. Who just texted me? Oh, I thought it was DC. At the Fox Studios, we have what's called the Avocado Room. That's where everybody sits and watches fights and hangs out, whatever. And we were in there. There was a lot of people in there, about 30 people watching the fights. And when that fight happened, 54 seconds of utter madness. Everybody was on their feet. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. Unfortunately, for my coach, my brother Jason Perillo, and of course for Cyborg, it wasn't there now. And commiserations for that. But you know, just because Perillo is my brother and Cyborg is a teammate, you know, I can't not congratulate Amanda Nunes. It was exceptional. It was exciting. It was ferocious. It was beautiful to watch. It was the fiercest women's MMA fight I think we've ever seen. Both had big moments. It was back and forth. I mean, Nunes did, you know, dominate it for the most part. It was only 54 seconds long, but Cyborg landed a couple of good shots that looked like it might turn the tide. Nunes opened with a big low kick, then landed a nice 1-2. Then it kind of went up against the fence, and they both just threw down with everything they had. It was beautiful to watch. As I say, it was exciting. It was fucking unbelievable. It really was. Congratulations to both. But Amanda Nunes, you cannot deny that this woman is the baddest woman on the planet. Go through it. Cyborg, Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey, Valentina Shevchenko twice, and the list goes on and on. It was unbelievable, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got to tell you right now, part of me was being a troll and just picking against the obvious pick, which I do a lot. I pick because I'm like, yeah, everyone's gonna pick Cyborg. But I did truly see this. Everybody's gonna hit a wall eventually, and Amanda Nunes has looked fucking unbelievable lately. And not that Cyborg hasn't, but Cyborg hasn't really faced anybody like Amanda Nunes. And the same is true for Amanda Nunes with Cyborg. I just kind of thought it might be Amanda Nunes' moment, and it was amazing. It was a great fucking fight, high quality. Girls right now, there's certain women in MMA that are knocking motherfuckers out, and it's awesome to watch. This is why... You know, this is why female MMA can compete with male mixed martial arts, and there's no other sport, basketball, there's no other sport you could watch where people will, granted, it's not that, look, I think people like male MMA more in general, but in certain cases, you see this was as good as any fucking fight ever, period. Just got two unbelievable fighters, both with knockout power, standing there trying to take each other's heads off. Amanda Nunes won, and the story of the night wasn't even the knockout, in my opinion. The story of the night for me was the incredible post-fight celebration. Literally got me choked up watching her celebrate. So happy. So, like, just so ecstatic. Almost like she didn't almost believe her in her, like it was almost like she surprised herself that win. Like she was just like, holy fucking shit, I just knocked out Cyborg. You know, just a really beautiful moment with, I guess, her and her, the older gentleman, maybe that's her head coach or mentor, where she called him her dad, and she's like crying, and it was just really, really emotional and beautiful. And whoever it was that said, and Harrington, you mentioned this, it was a writer who had said that Amanda Nunes is not marketable. I think that is such utter horseshit.
Yeah, I saw that, and Dana White actually went off of it. It was a writer, Daryl somebody or something, not for ESPN, but somewhere. He said some shit. Oh, look at this. Amanda Nunes destroyed Ronda Rousey and destroyed Cyborg, the two most marketable women in the UFC. And Dana went off on him, and rightly so, because that is bullshit. She's very marketable. Listen, look at the performances she's had. Look what she did to Cyborg, and look what she did to Ronda Rousey. They were fucking vicious beatings. They were Mike Tyson-esque performances. Yes. Simple. They were. She went out there, said, fuck you. I'm throwing down. Bang, bang, bang. Lights out. See you later. Boom. Give me my belt. How the fuck is that not marketable? Is she the most prettiest woman on the world? No, she's not. But I'm not watching her for that. I'm watching to see her wreck shop, beat world-class fighters, and put on performances like that. And she was very endearing. As you said,
here he is,
Darren Rovell. Between Rousey and Cyborg, Amanda Nunes has single-handedly killed the most valuable women in the sport, brutally damaging the UFC. Nunes isn't in the same marketing ballpark as either of those two.
Disagree.
Well, you are a fool. Disagree. But as you said, the post-fight celebration, very, very endearing. She was so happy. commiserations to Cyborg. I'll tell you something. I really respected Cyborg's attitude after the fight. You know, she really handled it well. She did. You know, she said, listen, yeah, I've lost before. She said, I never went out there and said I was unbeatable. Losses happen. And she's right. Losses do happen. I said this when I lost to GSP. Now, of course, when you say things like that, it's kind of the expected thing to say, but it is true. This is a sporting event. Two people enter the octagon. One is going to win, one's going to lose. All right, fair enough. Now and again, you get a draw. But generally, that is what happens. And just like in any sporting event, a game of football, right? One team's going to win, one team's going to lose. Again, occasionally there's a draw, but that's how it goes in professional sports and certainly in the fighting world. So, you know, no shame there. She took it well. She handled it like a loss. It was exciting as fuck, you know, and Cyborg will be back. But Amanda Nunes, once again, congrats.
And also, in my opinion, probably the best thing in the world for the 145-pound division is to have that. To have Amanda Nunes come in, beat Cyborg the way she did. Cyborg has absolutely earned an immediate rematch, being the most dominant female in mixed martial arts history forever. I mean, I see no reason in the world why we wouldn't give her a rematch. I know it was not even a one-sided fight. It wasn't one-sided. It was back and forth, but it was a quick fight, quick knockout. But I think you have an opportunity now with this rematch to really get a lot of people's eyes on the sport, because we have this amazing highlight knockout. We have this amazing story. Now we have real drama once again for the 145-pound division. It wasn't just Ronda Rousey that made that 145-pound division. She needed to have somebody like Misha Tate. She needed to have a real opponent there, or a real person there. And this is the reason why we saw Demetrius Johnson never really take away with the fans. It had nothing to do with anything else except the fact that he never really had that rival or that opponent. Good. But
the problem though is, Lewis, I agree with what you're saying in essence, but I do disagree with when you said it's the best thing for the 145 division. You could be right. But I do wonder if this is actually going to be damaging, because Cyborg, I mean, Dana said he doesn't see the need to do a rematch. I asked Amanda Nunes about it. She did say, and well done to her, listen, I'm not thinking about that right now, but if that's what the UFC want, that's what they'll do. But Dana did say, I don't see the need to do an immediate rematch. Now, what is Nunes going to do? Because we know traditionally throughout history has shown us that champs, double champs get stripped. Conor got stripped to the 145. DC got stripped of, well, he didn't get stripped. He relinquished it. Same thing, but smart move by him. You know, so what's going to happen to Nunes?
You can't fire me. I quit.
Yeah, well, no, he did right though, because the history books show that he was stripped. Where relinquishing is his own choice. So that was a smart little last-minute play by him. But what is Nunes going to do? He's going to fight at 135 or 45, because we've seen it's hard to do that. Now, the thing is as well, what's Cyborg going to do? Because she already had problems finding opponents. But the allure, the little carrot that was being dangled for fighting Cyborg was, if you beat her, you'll be the featherweight champion of the world. Now, why the fuck if you're a woman that isn't going to match up with Cyborg, you're like, fuck that. I'm not fighting Cyborg for what? So I can get my face smashed in on a co-main event for 3 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be difficult to find Cyborg matchups, and it's going to be difficult for Nunes to have that true, to fulfill what she should do with those 2 belts, because history has shown doing that is difficult.
And what do you think she's going to do? If I were her, I would probably relinquish the 145-pound title and keep the 135-pound title and just be the queen of that division. But in that sense, if she does that, once again, we create a paper champion at 145 or 35. That's an interesting point, because if they do take away that belt, and that's not an Amanda Nunes problem, that is a UFC policy problem. I've said this a million times. Ad nauseum, we've talked about this
many times on the show. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is very stupid. Okay, DC, Conor, all of them, they should be able to hold two, as long as they're defending that title within a year. They should be able to hold 2 titles. If guys can fight 2 or 3, 4 times a year sometimes, why wouldn't you give them the opportunity to have both belts? Being a double champion, you're defending the 2 different titles. I think that you're creating more marketability and more of a brand in each one of your fighters if you allow them to do that. And you're not taking away the value of those divisions, because we have half the divisions now. In recent memory, I can go, oh, cool, that guy never actually won the title from the champion. And that's a lot of different divisions right now in the UFC. And I don't like that. It seems like there's no logical reason why they don't allow people to hold 2 belts. Have you ever heard any reason why they don't allow it?
No, I haven't. But let's not dwell on that too long, because as you say, you are right. You're right in what you say. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but we have gone on about it a few times. But finally, I just want to say, before we move on to the big talking point, which is Jon Jones and Gustafsson, I think this could be one of the best things to happen to Cyborg. Now, I don't want to speak in a condescending tone or anything like that, but you don't learn from when you win fights. And Cyborg has obviously been I think she's on a 13-year unbeaten streak. She lost her debut in professional mixed martial arts. And since then, she's been unstoppable. When you lose a fight, that's when you reassess. That's when you look at things. Now, Cyborg was always able, not that she didn't fight with skill. That's not what I'm saying, but she was always able to have that big physical dominance on all her opponents. She was bigger, she was stronger, she was faster. She had the better striking as well. She had technique to go with it, but she was always able to, if she wanted to bite down on her mouthpiece and bully her opponents, she had the ability to do that. Now, Saturday night, she came up against someone where she wasn't able to do that. So that will force her to maybe, I'm not saying change everything, because she's an incredible fighter, but, make a couple of finer little changes, maybe changes in the way she approaches some fights. I mean, in the rematch, if she approaches it differently, I'm not saying Nunes couldn't beat her again. I'm saying there's a very good possibility that Cyborg could beat her in a rematch with a different game plan. But these two went toe-to-toe. And one punch can change the course of everything. So who knows how wobbled Cyborg was. But again, I'm not taking away from Nunes. She was incredible. She was exceptional. And I take Lewis's hat off to her. But, and you should take that hat off yourself anyway.
It's a nice hat. You shut your fucking face.
Shame
my hat.
But yeah, anyway, so there you go. Well done. Well done both ladies. Well done both. It was incredible. It really was. All right. Jon Jones. Alexander Gustafsson. We were going to do a show last week, but we didn't. And, on the Friday, whatever, logistical problems. But on the Friday, on the weigh-in show, we had to interview Jon Jones on the weigh-in show. And of course, every time we do this, we at Fox Studios, obviously it's a well-polished machine. It's not like the Believe You Me where we just freestyle. Everything is planned with a fine-tooth comb. It's proper TV. So they have to know, the producers, what questions are going to be asked. So they tell us what questions to ask, and they give us them on little printed out cards. Okay. Now, the only thing is that I don't care asking difficult questions. And I asked Jon Jones some questions, which apparently he didn't like. Because after the fight, and we'll get to the fight in a sec, after the fight, we interviewed him again. And when we were on commercial break, he was talking fucking shit. He's that motherfucker. Is that to whoever the powers that be were at Fox? Is that motherfucker Michael Bisping going to be asking questions again with his fucking dumb shit?
No.
I was like, oh yeah.
No.
So,
what did you ask him that pissed him off?
Well, I asked him. I said, listen, John, what is going to, because here's what we never spoke about. He tested positive in August. He tested positive in September, and he tested positive in December. Now they're saying that the metabolites and the presence of what he took, the turinabol, can stay in his body for a long time, right? So if you put all that together, he's probably going to test positive after the fight. Okay, so I said, John, has there been any discussion as to what happens if you test positive after the fight? Because I'll tell you what, if I'm Alexander Gustafsson and you stop me in the third round, but the motherfucker tests positive, and I don't care how many small pinches of salt it is in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, I want that overturned to a fucking no contest because you tested positive after the fight. So I asked him that, and he said, well, I'm just really looking forward to this fight. This fight's going to be great, and blah, blah, blah. He just totally ignored the question. So then I went back at him again with like kind of slightly reworded it, and once again he ignored it, and you could see he wasn't happy. And as I said, I wasn't trying to be a dick with John. I love watching Jon Jones fight. He's incredible, and I've been around him enough throughout my fight career as well. John's always been cool with me. I've always liked the guy, but in that position we're in, we've got to ask those fucking questions, So he had a bit of an issue with me after the fight, but we'll get to that stuff after. Let's talk about the fight. I mean, metabolites, turinabol, tests, all of that aside. Lewis, take it away. What did you think?
Yeah, look, he's the better fighter than Alexander Gustafsson. I think that, he outclassed him. It was a great performance. Alex never really looked like he was truly in the fight. Jones is just, he said it actually after the fight in his post-fight speech. He said, in a rematch, I don't think there's just not a better camp, or, we in rematches, we do really well. And I think that he does have a really great team behind him, and they look at it from a very scientific perspective, and they really break down, what to do. And it was very obvious the improvements that were made between those two fights. I'm just not a fan of Jon Jones. What do you want me to say? Everything from the way he came out. Did you see the way he was before he was coming out when the music was on? And he was doing this with his arms, and he kept on turning around. And there were security guards around. I wish we had the video of this, because I don't even know if you watch it, because you were watching it from Fox. Security guards were having to duck out of the way of his hands because he kept on spinning and singing to himself, and he just didn't give a fuck if his hands were smacking random people in the face. And I watched that moment, and I'm like, you're a cunt, dude. You're just a cunt. If I'm a security guard working that fucking day, and this asshole is just swinging his arms around because he's so into his own fucking shit, I just don't like him. Are you shaming me or him?
No, I'm shaming Jon Jones for smacking innocent security guards in the face in this festive period. I mean, they're trying to do their job, for crying out loud, and they've got the greatest fighter of all time smacking them in the face. Right? They're like, what do we do? We're in a bad position. I'm getting bitch slapped off Jon Jones.
You can't do anything.
Fucking TV.
You're supposed to be security. They're supposed to be in charge if anything goes down, and this guy's just smacking them all around.
You are undermining me in front of the world. I'm supposed to be a fucking security guard, and I'm getting slapped in the face. I do know what you're saying. And that did rub me up a little bit the wrong way, because the whole thing, it's a difficult one for Jon. Regarding what happened last week, how do you handle it? A little less smugness would have been nice to see. A little less smugness. But let's take a quick second to hear from one of our very, very loyal sponsors. They've sponsored this show for a long time now, and we are truly grateful. We are talking about betdsi.com, of course, a fantastic gaming platform. If you like sports, if you enjoy sports, or basically anything, they offer all kinds of bets and prop bets and things. If you want to watch sports and put some money on it, BetDSI really is one of the best places to go. They've been in business for over 20 years. They have a very, very fast history of making payments to the winners. It's an easy-to-use mobile playing interface. They offer great odds. And as I said, a lot of prop bets, a lot of unusual fun things as well, not just sports. And they've supported this show for a long time, and we're very, very, truly grateful, Lewis.
Yeah, they're amazing. And they actually give us a pretty awesome deal. Okay, if you go to betdsi.com, what you got to do is you got to use the promo code BYM120. The first thing that does, it lets them know that we sent you. That's why they stay on as a sponsor of this show. They know we're sending people there directly. So that's the number one most important reason. But they also have a great bonus that you can opt in for. It's a 60% bonus match on anything up to $1,000. So if you play with $1,000, you get $1,600 to play with. So yeah, 60% bonus match. If you opt in for that bonus, just know there is a rollover period for that bonus. You have to, if you use that bonus money, you have to play with it a certain amount of times before you can cash it out if you use that bonus cash. So just be aware of that when you guys are signing up. Otherwise, if you just use that promo code BYM120 and don't use the bonus cash, you can cash out right away. Once again, it's betdsi.com. Promo code is BYM120. Go gamble, have some fun, win some cash. And if you do win some cash, go fucking, buy a friend a drink on the BYM podcast. I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's get back into it.
All right, talking about the fight, let's talk about that real fast. You are right in what you say. Nobody's better at rematches than Jon Jones. I mean, look at two of his fights that he had. Daniel Cormier, first fight, very close fight. Jones won, very close fight. Alexander Gustafsson, first fight. I actually thought Gustafsson had a case to win that fight. I had it 3 rounds to 2. But either way, incredibly close fight. Both of those rematches, Jones comes back, different guy, different approach, stopped Daniel Cormier, knocked him out in the 3rd round. With Alexander Gustafsson, changed his game plan. See, with Gustafsson in the first fight, it was the hands that made the big difference. The boxing was too good, too crisp, too fast for Jones to deal with. So what he did in this fight was that he backed up a lot. He was backing up a lot and circling around the outsides of the octagon. When somebody's backing up like that, you can't box them. because they're moving away out of boxing range the whole time. So it makes it very, very fucking difficult. But as you're backing away, you can still pepper them with those oblique kicks, those leg kicks, those inside kicks, throw a kick up high at times. While you're backing up like that, you can still throw those kicks. But it does take away the best weapons of Alexander Gustafsson. And, you know, he chipped away, he damaged the legs for 2 rounds. And in the 3rd round, you know, he shocked him with a very, very powerful double leg takedown. And then we all saw the rest. You know, it was a very, very good stoppage. I do feel that the referee could have let it go on a little bit longer. I wouldn't say it was an early stoppage, but the reality of that would have been that Gustafsson just took more shots. You know what I mean? It could have been let go another 5 seconds. But as I say, Gustafsson would have just eaten 5 or 6 or 7 hard shots. You know, he wasn't going to escape that position. So in that sense, the referee made the right decision. But as fans, you kind of want to see what would happen if they had the time. After the fight, and listen, commiserations, Gustafsson. Gustafsson's a class act. I like that guy. I like everything about him. Like the way he fights, like the way he carries himself. You know, sorry, bud, unlucky. But I thought Jones was pretty good on the mic after the fight, if I'm honest. The way that he called out DC, right? It's so much more powerful when you're just cool, calm, and collected about it. It was just like, Daddy's home. Come get your belt, DC. Come on. Come see if you can get it. Rather than screaming down the microphone and being, fuck you, DC. Da, 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 da. Just cool, calm, smug, very self-assured, you know. And it was like, it's a little more chilling when it's delivered like that, you know?
Right. Yeah, you're right. I don't think DC has anything to prove, though. I think DC shouldn't give him the fight. I tweeted this out. I think that DC shouldn't allow Jon Jones to redeem himself, because Jon Jones is the one who has to redeem himself, because in my opinion, those victories are marred with asterisks. I don't know if Jon Jones has ever fought clean in his entire life. It seems like this whole situation, this whole fight has a huge asterisk around it. At the very best case scenario, there's an asterisk in the history books here. I don't care fucking what. Pictograms, different states, people looking at it different ways. Fucking Jeff Nowitzki going on Joe Rogan podcast, making me even more confused. I watched that. I was like, okay, now I'm even more confused. I watched the whole thing. I know less about it now than I knew before I watched it. I'm just saying DC should let Jon Jones sit on that for the rest of his life and go, you know what, dude? Your victories are fucking fake. At the very least, nobody even believes that you were clean. And I don't think you should give him the opportunity to beat him clean. Because I think if they fought again, I'm assuming Jon Jones would not pop. And then he sort of has that thing where DC can no longer say, well, you fought me dirty. And I say, fuck it. DC's fought as clean his entire career. That's that.
I agree. I do agree. I agree with everything you just said. But I think that DC should fight him again, because unfortunately, in the history books, it will show that Jon Jones beat him twice. Now, I want DC because DC is a great person. He's been a massive ambassador for this sport. He's done incredible things, and he's a great person. So I want him to get that big fight with Brock Lesnar, fight Brock Lesnar, get a massive payday, and then he should fight Jon Jones and retire. He's talking about retiring next year anyway. He's talking about retiring by March, his 40th birthday. But he could do one more fight. And I think he should fight Jon Jones again, because A, it will be massive, probably bigger. Well, to hardcore fans, for sure, bigger than him versus Brock Lesnar. And if he was to beat him, you know, you're right. It does give Jon the opportunity to beat him a 3rd time. But it also gives DC the opportunity to beat him and beat him clean, you know. So and there's a big storyline there. And I think DC, I'm looking at it from not a fan's perspective, from DC's perspective, right? He'll never forgive himself if he doesn't take that fight. When he's old, he's like, fuck, I should have taken that 3rd fight. I should have fucking taken it. DC's a fighter. DC is not a quitter. You don't become the level of fighter, wrestler, person that he is unless you're willing to take on big challenges. And this is a big challenge. And you're right, it does give Jon Jones you know, that upper hand and whatever. But I still think the opportunity for DC to go out there and beat him and get it back and get that victory over him and say, you know what, fuck you. See, I was better than you all along. And now that you're clean, I proved it to everybody. So for that reason, I think he should take it.
And if they do it, I think if they're going to do it at heavyweight at the very least. At least there's a story there. DC is a heavyweight champion. To be honest with you, I can't deny that I would love to see what Jon Jones looks like at a heavyweight. I cannot deny that Jon Jones is heavyweight. fucking see how many pictograms he does when he fucking goes and does a heavyweight, dude. Just massive fucking muscles on top of muscles. Jon Jones would be a fucking nightmare at heavyweight.
Well, here's another reason I think why he was pissed off with me on that interview, because I said to him, any chance, if you beat Gustafsson, any chance you want to challenge DC for the belt at heavyweight? And he said, nah, I'm a light heavyweight, man. And I said, well, hold on a minute. I said, John, do you cut weight to make light heavy? He said, yeah, I do. I said, all right, well, what do you cut down from? He said, well, 225 pounds. I said, well, that's a decent size heavyweight. You add on 5-10 pounds of bulking up, you'll be 235.
It's a monster.
So I don't think you like that. But it's a very, very good point and a fair point. But while we're talking about this, I do want to address one thing, Lewis. As you know, and everybody knows, I do look at the comments on YouTube, and I got a lot of abuse last week because everybody said that I was making excuses for Jon Jones. And
how's that fence sitting on, Mike?
I ain't sitting on no motherfucking fence, bitches, okay? And if you want to come round, I'll stick this fence up your ass, okay? I said, you can't argue with what the scientists have said, right? If they say, I'm not a scientist. Are you a scientist, Lewis? Or all you dumb fucks on the YouTube comments, are you scientists? No, they're saying that it is believable and plausible. It was in his system since last time in 2017. So therefore, they're allowing the fight to go on. Okay, that's what I said. And I said, if they say that, then you've got to believe the science behind it. That's why they get paid. Do I think the whole thing is bullshit? Of course I do. I think it's ridiculous. I think that he shouldn't be in there. It's very black and white. Just like when you take a sobriety test, you get pulled over, they suspect you of drink driving, you got alcohol in your system, you're fucked. It should be the same thing with steroids. I've said it the whole time. My stance on that hasn't changed. I was just saying, I understand I kind of understand why they're allowing this to go on, but I still think the thing was suspect. I still think the thing was very fishy. I still think the whole thing was bullshit, if I'm honest. But it is what it is. The commissions, the scientists, they made this ruling, and you just got to fucking deal with it. Sitting here and crying about it isn't going to change anything.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, we've heard, before rumors of there being, massive issues with steroids in the sport. And this is a guy who's getting caught. You got to think of how many times, guys are going in and fighting other fighters that aren't getting caught. So I think that sometimes.
And if he wasn't cheating in the first place, then they wouldn't have been there in the first place. So I have really, really limited sympathy. In fact, I have no sympathy at all for the situation that he's in. As I said, I've met John. I've been around him. I always have very positive interactions. Some of the things that he's done over the years, yeah, of course, they're terrible. But as I said, I always had interactions. I take people on face value. But I got no sympathy with the drug testing bullshit, because it's not a case of there being no smoke without fire. There's a fucking fire all over the place. You tested positive 3 times. You know what I mean? So it's not a case of no smoke, no fire. You tested positive 3 times, and the reason they're in your system is your fucking fault. So zero sympathy.
Well, he denied taking steroids. So this isn't even my original thought. Somebody tweeted this out, but it was a great tweet. They were like, he was like, I never took steroids, and then they were like, the reason you have, this in your system is because it was left over from the last time you took steroids. And then he's like, yeah, that's it. So it's like he's almost admitting that he took steroids in the past now, even though he always denied it in the first place.
I know, because now guess what? Admitting the last time gets him off this time.
Yes.
But you denied last time. Yes. So which is it, right? You're just cheating all over the place. And guess what? The sad reality is he's not the fucking only one.
Right.
Apparently, and I saw this, I saw, if you go on the Joe Rogan, and far be it from me to, I'm not trying to diminish the Joe Rogan podcast or anything like that, but I watched the Jeff Nowitzki Joe Rogan episode. I was on the Peloton bike and I had it on. I was watching. It was very interesting. And then I looked at the comments because I was kind of curious to see what the public perception was, whether or not they were buying it. So I looked at the comments, and there was one comment, big long comment, that had been reposted, copied and pasted thousands of times. And it said, this is a repost. The original podcast has been taken down, and this has been reposted with a bit edited out. And they were saying, shame on Jamie and this and that. And it goes into it, how he was taking a drug that only has a 2 to 4 hour shelf life. It's only detectable for 2 to 4 hours. And part of the side effects of that is turinable metabolites left over in your system. I don't know. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying what I read on the comment section there. It was kind of interesting. Check it out if you have time, if you bothered, if you give a fuck. But anyway, ultimately,
there's nobody else that has this many problems with getting tested over and over again. There's nobody that has the rumors about them hiding from, USADA underneath the mat. There's nobody that's coming up with dick pill excuses. There's nobody that's coming up with fucking every other thing.
Silva.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very, very convenient. And I think what it seems like, and I don't know Jeff Novinsky, and I'm not calling anybody a liar, but it seems like the whole Jon Jones situation, there's plausible deniability based off of science, right? So but it seems like it was reverse engineered, whether it's Jon Jones or whoever, they reverse engineered the excuse. And they said, cool, I know that this will be the way that I could get off if there was a way to get off. And we've watched it happen with the dick pills. We watched it happen with over the counter supplements. And, you had mentioned it before. There's like a list of supplements, you can sort of use to get off or as an excuse. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're taking, I mean, this again is reverse engineering an excuse. Like Lyoto Machida, they came and tested him. He knows if we believe Lyoto Machida was punished and sentenced for taking steroids, okay? So if you're Lyoto Machida and you're taking fucking, let's say it's Turinabol. It wasn't Turinabol, but let's just say that you're taking Turinabol, right? And you think, okay, what if you saw the show up and they test me and they find Turinabol? Okay, what supplements out there on the market have fucking Turinabol in them? So I can say, oh, I was taking this. I had no idea. That's all you got to do. And you have a little sachet of it on the side. You know what I mean? And your wife says, you saw her at the front door. You say, shit, give me a fucking scoop of that. So they find the other stuff in it, simple as that. There you go. You're explained. You're off the hook. Maybe not off the hook, but off the hook in the court of public opinion. Yes.
Oh, he didn't take steroids. He took a supplement over the shelf. And
that's the craziest.
Actually, he's the victim. I feel sorry for him. It's so bad. Poor guy took a fucking steroid.
He was just trying to get his dick hard.
I said this on the Rogan podcast, and I'll say it again now, and I've said it many, many times, right? And this partly alludes to me taking better care of my body in the year 2019. I haven't been very overly scrutinous. I have not scrutinized what I put inside my body. I got drug tested many times throughout the UFC. I used to get drug tested way before USADA, before and after every single fight. Then USADA started showing up at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning and testing me 3 times every camp. I'm not that guy that's reading the back of every container. What's in this? I'll be like, if it's for sale there, I generally think it's okay. So I drink it, I take it, whatever. And I never tested positive. And we'll leave that there. But well done, Joe. You got to say well done. It's weird.
I will say well done, Joe. He's an unbelievable fighter. And it's a shame, in my opinion, it's a shame that he needs to take these shortcuts, because I believe that Jon Jones wouldn't need, I think he's talented enough of a fighter that he doesn't need the shortcut. And I think you almost put yourself into a dependency, whether it's psychologically, physically, or whatever else it is. I think that, it's a shame more than anything else. The whole thing, the whole cloud that surrounds it, I go, God damn it, dude. You could just be the greatest ever. He could just be the greatest fighter ever with no questions asked. And he makes it very hard to like him. I don't understand the mentality of the guys who come out and defend him so hard on Twitter, like the fans, because I tweeted about how I think DC shouldn't let him redeem himself. And people are like, like, what are you talking about? DC needs to redeem himself. He got knocked the fuck out. It's like, how are you so behind a guy who, for all intents and purposes, has been cheating? We know this. How are you standing behind that guy? Because he's badass and he can knock people out? Sure, of course. But how are you not going like, oh, well, I don't want to fucking be behind that guy. He's Drago in Rocky IV. He's putting needles into his arm. He's got a whole fucking team of scientists behind him. That's not what you're rooting for. You're rooting for Rocky.
He's not just Drago and Rocky IV. Somebody tweeted something out yesterday. Who was it? It was somebody I know. The list of things that Jon Jones had done wrong since whenever it was. And it was a lot. There was a lot of things on there. But
what were they?
2 minutes ago, fucking multiple steroid tests, knocking this person over, taking cocaine, getting shit. He got stripped of the light heavyweight belt 3 times. I mean, I'll be honest, that's kind of gangster. It's kind of impressive for all the wrong reasons. But if you want to look at a guy and say, this guy doesn't give a fuck, man. He's been stripped of the belt 3 times. That's not something to be proud of. But, at some point, you got to look at it and say, wow, that's a lot. But if you look at the record, Gustafsson finished him. DC finished him. Rampage finished him. Machida finished him. Shogun. The list goes on and on and on. All the great light heavyweights, he beat them all. DC Restore balance in the world.
Remember, like
DC should restore balance in the world. Come out and beat Jon Jones. Okay, that's what you got to do, DC. If you're watching this, man up. Come step into my office. I'll give you a few pointers. We can take him down, bro. We got this. All right. Before we get into the greatest moments or the best bits of Believe You Me 2018, woof woof. Let's just quickly play this video. We got a Robin Black breakdown of Floyd Mayweather fought tonight. Of course, he had that big exhibition boxing match in Rising. Took on Tenshin. I forget his last name. Nakanakanakamoomoo or something.
Nakanakanakamoomoo.
Nasukawa.
No, it's Nakanakanakamoomoo.
No, Nasukawa. All right, Tenshin Nasukawa. Pardon me. I knew it was something like that. Well, I wasn't a million miles away. Come on. A lot of people are calling it fake. I don't know if I think it's fake.
Nakanakanakamoomoo is the most racist name for the person ever.
Is it?
Nakanakanakamoomoo.
I don't think it's racist. I love the Japanese people.
I love it. That's the name of the episode.
I'm just saying I didn't know his name. Nakanakanakamoomoo. Okay? Right? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be racist. I just didn't remember his name, and I was taking an attempt, a stab in the dark, Lewis, at what his last name was. Okay? I'll tell you this right now. I'm not an expert on Tenshin Nasukawa. All right?
I understand.
But I knew his name was something like that. Anyway, the fight took place, 3 3-minute rounds, exhibition bout. Floyd Mayweather got paid $9 million. Easy money. Tenshin is a very, very small fighter, but I didn't realize how small he was until I saw them in the ring. But now, of course, Floyd Mayweather got the knockout, knocked him down 3 times in 1 round. I believe that's a technical knockout or a technical stoppage. Referee called off the fight. I think it looked all right, but everybody's been out there. Brendan Shaw, Robin Black, tons of people calling it a robbery, calling it a performance fix. Pardon me, that's the word I was looking for. Let's roll the breakdown of the great Robin Black.
I love Robin Black's breakdowns. They're fucking incredible.
Right. Let's have a look.
Robin Black, 1-minute breakdown, Tenshin and Mayweather, exhibition bout, a chance to see a young super talent get the rub from a veteran great. First knockdown. Didn't see that bink, not sure where it was. The hook looks like it touches over the shoulder, but the right sails by. You'll see it come out the other side. But Tenshin, you tell us, where'd you get hit? I get hit to the body. Putting on a show, kid. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I don't know.
That one
landed.
But you'd never see Mayweather square his feet and extend his hands like this. But in this case, he goes body, frame, bink right there. Look at the angle, and then look where the head goes. Different trajectory. That's okay. This is a show. It is an exhibition. Last shot. Boom. That's a big one, isn't it? You don't see any hip turn here from Mayweather, and he doesn't stop the cigarette. Check out the angle of this shot. A little touch on that angle, and Tenshin gets shot out of a cannon. It's a Japanese tradition to showcase a future great with a legend. We saw that here. Tenshin Nasukawa is a super talent, one of the great martial artists of the generation.
I mean, look, when you break it down like that way, it looks like a fix.
I don't know. I listen, I love Robin Black. I was just going to text you. We're using your breakdown on the show. Robin Black's the man, and Happy New Year to everybody that was a guest on our show and everybody that listened to our show this year. We are rising. We are taking over. But I disagree there because he said on that second knockdown that he got hit from the left side, so therefore his head should move this way. But Tenshin was also moving backwards. Okay, so when you're moving backwards, your head might go back. So I don't know. Listen, is it crazy to think that there was possibly a fix in a boxing fight? No, it's not. It's not crazy. Is it also crazy to think that Floyd Mayweather got paid a lot of money just to go out there and get some eyeballs on Rising? No, it's not crazy, But
I mean, look, in both boxing and in old school Pride, and if I'm not wrong, Rising, they are some of the people that were involved in Pride are involved in Rising, correct?
Yeah, what's his name? Yes, Nakanakanakamoomoo.
Yeah, Nakanakanakamoomoo, obviously.
No, what's his name? I do know it.
It's not that crazy. The amount of times we've heard of
Saki Babara. Saki Babara was the CEO of Pride or whatever he was, the president of Pride, and I think he's the same guy over at Rising. The thing that made me think that it wasn't a fix was Tenshin was bawling his eyes out. He was very upset after the fight. He was crying. Okay, and if you think if you're gonna throw a fix, then you're not gonna cry after it, or is just adding that on for effect? You're just like really selling the bout. What do you think, Lewis?
I mean, I don't know if it's a fix. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. So when I hear of a conspiracy theory, I kind of roll my eyes every time. And I think that, sometimes maybe it's true. It did seem like it was Floyd Mayweather fucking around, but it also seemed like Floyd Mayweather was just that much more skilled at tension than boxing, that he could sort of do whatever he wanted to. I remember the one knockdown. I don't remember which one it was there, but I remember watching it this morning. And when he went down, it looked like almost like a slip. It didn't really connect. And then when he went to go get back up and he fell back down like a Mike Tyson Punch-Out character. Like, when he gets up and then like does the slow. And it was kind of a bizarre way that he flopped back down.
That was definitely reminiscent of I think it was Rocky IV, where they're both like trying to get back up the ropes and then they fall back down. Or was it Apollo Creed? I'm not sure. Fucking probably every single Rocky movie ever.
Yeah.
Where in the final round they're trying to get up and they fall back to the feet and whatever.
Fighting the clock. Yeah.
There was a little bit of that. There was, but still, whatever. It is what it is. I didn't pay to see it. You didn't pay to see it. Do we really give a fuck about?
I didn't even know what was happening. I swear to God, I had no idea what was happening. I came in today. They're like, Floyd Mayweather.
I only know about this because I drink coffee in my bed in the morning after I send my wife down. I say, go downstairs and make me a coffee, and she does. She's the best. And she comes up, she gives me my coffee. I scroll through Twitter, and I saw it on Twitter. There you go. So I don't really care. You know what I mean? He made $9 million. Good for him. I'm sure Tension made some money as well. Fakes, no fakes. Who gives a fuck? It's a demonstration bout. It wasn't an official fight. So, but still, fun. All right. You're short on time. So,
well, we got a little bit of time. We have the best of it's not the best moments from the show, which we should do. We should do a best of moments from the show, maybe for the first show of the year next week. These are the best knockouts of the year. Harrington, what are the categories you set up for us?
So I did best knockout of the year, best fight of the year, best submission of the year, best fighter of the year, and the first ever inaugural Michael Bisping Spirit Award.
The Michael Bisping Spirit Award. So we can give.
Okay.
He has a few nominees. Go ahead.
I mean, as the host of the show, we could at least be consulted on who's going into these. You know what I'm saying?
I just felt like you weren't going to want to be bothered.
No, I was going to reach out yesterday and say, guys, we got to put some serious time and effort and thought into this. But no, we've just fucking palmed it off to Harrington, which, by the way, is probably better because now we can just make fun of the list. So without further ado,
and
Harrington,
also,
take us through.
Let's get real. Here's what Harrington did, okay? Because this mother, he didn't. We're gonna give Harrington way too much credit, okay?
He went to Sherdog or somewhere
and saw their list,
copied their list.
Yeah, and combined the 2 or 3 lists from the different websites.
Guess what? I used to do top 5s on UFC Now, and like top 5 days. And I'd do the same fucking thing. I mean, I wouldn't do the same thing, but I would definitely get inspiration from other lists because there's so many fights and so many this and that. I was like, I don't fucking give me the top 5 classic leg sweep takedowns in UFC history. I'm like, I don't fucking know. There's so many fights. But anyway, all right, okay. Lewis, do we have intro music? Do we have like special award music? Is it the Oscars? Do we have somebody introducing these, making jokes?
Of course we do.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the official end of year Believe You Me Believer Awards. What? No way. I don't believe she had this ready.
Did you just search this music as I said that, Shannon, or was it already on deck?
Of course, I already had it on deck, guys.
No, she didn't. I'll tell you what happened.
Prepared.
No, here's what happened. She has this for another show that's doing some fucking award show, and now she has to change their music because she used it for this.
The Real Ass podcast. Those were the Real Assies.
I bet it was, you fucking lazy bitch.
Okay. So which award are we starting with first?
All right, so Harrington, you give us the category and then the nominees, and then me and Mike can debate it, and I guess the fans can decide who's right. Is that the way we'll do it?
No. How about this? Harrington says the award. I give my thought, you give your thought, and then Harrington gives the top 5. And then we either congratulate or bust his balls.
Beautiful.
Okay. This should be a pretty easy one to start with then. Best knockout.
Oof. You know what? Best knockout for me, I'll say, obviously, I'm not thinking of all of them. I know there was that one that I didn't really give any love to about the elbow, the over-the-top elbow. But I'll say Daniel Cormier against Stipe Miocic, round 1 to become the heavyweight champion. Boom.
All right. please don't say Gustafsson.
But I
Please
can't
don't say
remember all
Gustafsson.
the fucking knockouts. Lewis, we haven't got all day.
I know. I'm trying to think of the best knockouts of the year. Let's think.
It's going to be more of a quick fire scenario.
No, you know what, dude? I'm going to say right now, Amanda Nunes over Cyborg. It is one of the biggest upsets of the year, biggest upsets in sports history. If nobody really saw her knocking out Cyborg inside of 54 seconds, solidifying herself as the baddest woman on the planet. I think it was the knockout that was heard the loudest around the world, and I think it meant the most for the division of mixed martial arts. Yes, Stipe and Cormier was great, but I do think that Amanda Nunes made her career with that knockout that we saw this past Saturday night. Harrington, what are your top 5 nominees?
Go ahead.
So, I had both of those on there. I also had the one Michael was referencing, the Yair Rodriguez versus Korean Zombie, that elbow. I have Nico Price with the hammer fist from the bottom. That was a really interesting knockout. And then Lyoto Machida turning back time and KOing Vitor Belfort was pretty awesome. Okay. I mean, like anytime Belfort.
So what?
gets
So
knocked
hold on. So what was number one? Give us your number one.
For me, it was DC versus Stipe.
No, not for you. Oh, it was.
Well,
okay,
I gave you the 5 I had on the list.
What Harrington did was he set up 5 that he thought were the top 5, and then we were going to pick which the number one was out of that. That was sort of his idea. It wasn't in order.
All right. Well, let's do it this way, but then Harrington has to give us his number one because he has to like give an opinion, you know.
Harrington, you give us your
I'd
number
like
one,
to
and then
hear an
Shannon, you
opinion.
give us your number one. I'm just kidding,
Go.
Shannon.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, Mike. I think, Daniel Cormier coming up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, getting the knockout in the first
suck
round.
Up. You make me sick.
I think it was incredible.
Mike, I agree with you.
Harrington, I always said you were a smart guy, man.
You never said that.
Thanks, Mike.
I was like,
think
there's
Michael
something
Bisping
about
said it
Harrington.
best.
I think Michael Bisping said it best. Lewis, you lose, my friend. All right, next.
He's the fucking
award.
decider who wins. Are you kidding me? He's the one.
He is the decider. He's the guy in the middle, sitting on the fence, the impartial. But I'll tell you this: he's the Luis J. Gomez cocksucker, and he still says, he is a sycophant for you. Okay, he is your yes man all day, but he still went with the logic that cannot be undenied or that cannot be denied. So Harrington.
He likes to watch me fail, and he makes me sick. But go ahead, continue. Next category.
I want both of you guys to win all the time. So I have Paul Craig, the submission he got at 4:59 in the fifth round. Yeah, submission of the year. Sorry about that.
Announced submission of the year awards. Okay, and now, without further ado, we move on to the best submission of the year awards. The top 5 candidates are. That's how it should be, Harry.
It's the same music.
In fact, next time, Shannon, I'll just tell me the category, and I'll do the heavy lifting. My word, Harrington. Without further ado, would you open the envelope and read the nominees?
Okay, I have Paul Craig's submission at 4:59 of the 5th round versus Magomed Ankalaev. Aljamain Sterling's Nivar versus Cody Stamann. Zabit Magomed Sharapov, his knee bar versus Brandon Davis. Alexia Lennox Ezekiel choke versus Junior Albini. And Chiesa's one-arm Kimura versus Carlos Condit this weekend.
I want to say he did just take MMA Mania's list and add Chiesa's to it. That's all he did. That's all. I mean, I want to point that out. It's in order. Not only that, but in order, he just took their list and added a fucking submission to it. He's lazy.
I am really starting to think that you are getting some kind of advertising fee from MMA Mania.
It's what he did.
It's all you. But listen, you're telling me there's, and I, by the way, was disgusted with his fight approach, but blown away with how he finished. No mention of Ryan Hall doing a beautiful Imanari roll and submitting the legend BJ Penn in the first round, just on Saturday night. Submission of the year all day. That is my suggestion, Lewis.
I think I have to go with Khabib over Conor.
Ooh.
You gotta fucking. I mean, the passion behind that fight, the hype behind the fight, the weight, how much it meant to Khabib, how serious he took it. The moment in between rounds when Conor was like, "Hey man, it's just business," where he broke Conor, where Conor broke kayfabe, and he was no longer Conor McGregor, the fucking man who couldn't stop talking shit to a microphone, and he was like, "Dude, take it easy. And then he went and choked him out. Are you fucking kidding me? The story, the drama, the way it ended, the caliber of fighters and what we saw there, I think that, in my opinion, that was the submission of the year.
I agree because it was such a monumental task, and then the hype up to it, you know. Was it the best, most impressive submission? No, it was raw and just very aggressive with a lot of strength. But as you say, the story and what it meant and all the rest of it. And of course, the post-fight melee, which ensued was rather incredible as well. So you're right. Good choice. I sign off on that. That's the winner. That's the winner.
Michael Bisping said it best. What?
I think Michael Bisping said it best.
You usually do. Shannon, play the music and let's move on to the third category, ladies and gentlemen. Harrington.
It's going to be fight of the year, Mike.
Who do we have? What is the next category?
It's fight of the year.
Can you do it with an announcer voice at least?
I thought Mike was going to do that. I was just feeding him the line.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we move on to the highly contested fight of the year nominations. I have been involved in several of these over the years, but this year I was retired. In at number 5, Harrington, we have
Jeremy Stephens versus Doo-Hoo Choi.
Okay.
Yeah, very good, very good. In at number 4,
Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier.
Great fight.
In at number 3,
Conor versus Khabib.
2,
Rodriguez versus Korean Zombie. And
without further ado, number 1.
Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero 2.
Not even my favorite fight isn't even on the list. What do you think, Mike?
Lewis, go ahead, because I was too busy, manning the show, emceeing it, comparing it, saying cue the music. I didn't even give it a think. So while you say your stuff, I'll think.
Ladies and gentlemen, fight of the year, in my opinion, absolutely fucking crazy fight. And once again, a fight that has major implications on the division. Tony Ferguson throwing down and winning against Anthony Pettis. When was that? That was very recently, just a couple months ago. What was it? UFC, whatever it was. Just a crazy, crazy fight. Tony Ferguson coming off a long injury, so some question marks whether or not he was going to be able to come back, and he came back and fucking just looked absolutely unstoppable. And it was a bloody, chaotic, crazy fight. Both guys looking really, really great. Obviously, Tony looking a lot better. Just a fun fight. Loved it. That was the one that really stood out to me. I remember at the time being like, shit, this was a great fight.
Yeah, the thing is, until you're there, best fight, without going back and watching them, is hard to come up with on the fly. A lot of good suggestions there. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. That was a particularly good one. But I'll tell you what, do you know what I think might do it? And again, it just happened. Maybe that's why, because it's fresh in my mind. But Cyborg Nunes, it was only 54 seconds long, but that was some of the most exhilarating 54 seconds you'll ever see in your life. So I certainly think that's a competitor. Some great suggestions there. Excellent copy and pasting skills from Harrington. It's insane. It's insane. Because as Lewis was talking, I Googled best UFC fights of 2018. And that exact fucking list came up.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Conor versus Khabib didn't make anybody.
You're a hack.
This is ridiculous.
Step into my office, Harrington. Why? Because you're fucking fired. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next category.
Is our final category?
The music.
Fighter of the year.
A fighter of the year.
This is a highly acclaimed award, highly prestigious, the best fighter of the year. Without further ado, Harrington, who are the nominations?
Khabib Nurmagomedov, Amanda Nunes,
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier,
Yeah.
Robert Whittaker, and Daniel Cormier.
I'm surprised you didn't say Luis J. Gomez.
I mean, I did it. I am undefeated.
You're undefeated. You had a big fight. We had guys in roller skates and midgets getting beaten up and people.
Oh, little people. Easy.
Actually, he was number 6 on MMA Mania, so he didn't make the cut. Sorry.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, God. Fighter of the year. Oh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Lewis, go ahead.
That is a tough one. Who has stood out? Who has really, really stood out this year?
I think the top nominations, the ones that stand out, probably Nunes, because she became a champ. DC obviously became a champ. Had a busy year. Did he fought three? Did he fight Uzdemir at the start of the year? I think he fought Uzdemir, then he beat Stipe, then he beat Derek Lewis. You know, that's a great year. Won 2 belts, defended the heavyweight belt. That's good. Khabib Nurmagomedov obviously was involved in the most high-profile fight. And then I think what he did outside the octagon, going off and building wells and all that type of stuff, is to be highly commended. All of those guys, Max Holloway certainly deserves a special shout out. And for all those people that put it on the line each and every time for the viewing fans, for the public, I commend you all. I do. It's not an easy job. And for a lot of them, they don't get paid incredible amounts of money. Well, when you're starting as a fighter, you got to work your way up. You know, of course, the cream rises to the top. You become one of those guys, you make a lot of money. But there's a lot of guys on the undercards that are just starting out their careers, but they're still making the same sacrifices and putting on great fights. So thank you to everybody that makes the sacrifice and does that. But if I had to pick one, oh my word, I'd say DC. DC, I think, because he was the most active out of the other ones and won the heavyweight belt. Holloway deserves a mention. Yeah, I'll go with DC.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think Khabib only fighting twice this year and Amanda only fighting twice this year. I think that's the big differentiator because I would have given it to Amanda because it's a similar thing. So with both DC and Amanda moving up, fighting somebody who heavier. In fact, I think Amanda moving up, and there was a much bigger differentiation in terms of the odds and the spread between Amanda Nunes and Cyborg. So it was probably more impressive that she were able to beat Cyborg. But the fact that DC was able to do it 3 times in 1 year, 3 wins, moving up to heavyweight, there's something about heavyweight still to this day that there is like, when you hear the term pound for pound, what they're saying is essentially, you know, look, the heavyweights will fuck up everybody else. Let's forget everything else. But if everyone was the same size, everything would be fair. So I just look at somebody who comes up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, wins, you know, in my opinion, sort of erases the damage that Jon Jones did to him. I'm also going to give it to Daniel Cormier. I'm a big fan. He also did something this year as well, which we haven't really mentioned. He turned the fans. People weren't really a big fan of DC a year or 2 ago. They were kind of like, whatever. He really did something this year. Maybe it was Jon Jones. Maybe it was the fact that he, you know, there was a few times that he got on a microphone. He was just very, very good in those moments. He really turned a lot of fans around on his side. And I think that there's something to be said about that. That's a little bit of Michael Bisping inside of him right there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And a little bit of Michael Bisping, because, you know, far be it from me to give myself a special mention, but I'm going to. It's my show. But, you know, in 2016, a guy got ESPN Fighter of the Year, UFC Fighter of the Year. I forget his name, but whoever it was, he beat Anderson Silva, Luke Rockhold, and Dan Henderson in a 3-fight stretch. I mean, that was just unbelievable. But it never gets mentioned. But anyway, yeah, all right, well, DC, I will endeavor to get him on the show, on the next show. I'll shoot him a text and say, never mind ESPN Fighter of the Year. Okay, you are the Believe You Me Fighter of the Year, and it's very prestigious. And with that, we say congratulations. I guess we're coming towards the end of the show. Thank you.
There's one more final category.
Oh.
And it's not even, there's no nominees. We were just giving this award away. Is that correct? Unless Michael Bisping overrides it and says he doesn't deserve it. Or we'll say who we think deserve it.
What is the name of said award?
It's the Michael Bisping Spirit Award.
Okay. I had a feeling it was going to be the Michael Bisping Spirit Award. This has just been thrown upon me. Surely, if it is the Michael Bisping Spirit Award, Michael Bisping should get to fucking pick the winner. I mean, call me stupid.
Well, you're a little biased. I feel like you're going to give it to yourself.
Did you pick the winner, Harrington?
No, I mean, I nominated a few people, but
and then me and Harrington agreed on who we thought the winner should be. Yeah. But you give me who you think.
Okay. No. This is great because we've got Luis J. Gomez and Mike Harrington choosing the Michael Bisping Spirit Award. I hate to break it to you, but neither of you are Michael fucking Bisping. There's only one person here that lays claim to that title. Okay?
Yeah, but you have a very skewed perspective.
Only I sit in the Iron Throne. Okay, me. It's a leather throne, and it's very comfortable. But I am the only ones with the initials MB.
That's true. So who would you give the Michael Bisping Spirit Award to?
I want to hear your choices.
Who are the choices? Who are the original choices, Harrington? And also sorry.
Yes. And now finally for the most prestigious award that we have available to a human being. It's not the Oscars, it's the Michael Bisping Spirit Award.
And for those of you who don't know, the Michael Bisping Spirit Award is the man or woman, probably a man, who embodies the Michael Bisping spirit, the take no prisoners attitude, the bite down on my mouthpiece, against all odds, blue collar spirit, not a person given much in life, really came out and earned his way. Not much in the way of talent, not really, not naturally gifted like some of these other fighters, but really a guy who is turning into shit now. A guy's ugly.
This is turning into like the shittest award. It's like the consolation prize for the most improved player. The Michael Bisping Spirit Award. I mean, all you got to do is come from a broken home, have no talent, terrible athlete, no explosive power whatsoever. He's not a black belt, but he can scramble and spaz really well to get back to his feet. He doesn't hit really hard, but God bless him, he'll fucking try. Did he take on the best opponents? Yes, he did. But they were kind of like at the end of their careers. He tap danced around the octagon and avoided the roster. For that person, we give the Michael Bisping Spirit Award.
And that award goes. That award sucked. You don't want the Michael Bisping Spirit Award.
Fuck me. All right. So who are we going to insult by giving the Michael Bisping Spirit Award to?
They're going to throw it back at us.
Well, they'll be like, nah, man, I don't want your shit, brah.
I threw in a couple of token nominees just because I needed to fill out the list. Yeah, I mean, your Eddie Alvarez, Brian Ortega, Kelvin Gastelum. I think those guys fit the bill, but for me, it's really a two-horse race.
It's a two-horse race. All right, who do you like in this?
Donald Cerrone and Max Holloway.
Interesting choice. I mean, Cerrone, big fan. Not really. I don't know if he had the best year this year, to be honest, but Max Holloway, he does embody the fighting spirit. I mean, every time he goes out there and fights, it's unbelievable. It's always a great display. And the attitude and the fighting spirit that this guy has. I mean, remember the fight with Ricardo Lamas, final 30 seconds, just pointed at the floor and said, let's fucking go. Obviously, had that health scare earlier in the year where a really exceptional man pointed it out, and the title fight with Brian Ortega didn't go ahead. Then he came back. I was kind of concerned and just put an absolute beating on Brian Ortega to establish himself as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. And Harrington, for once, you did something right. I sign off on that. Max Holloway, Michael Bisping Spirit of the Award, and he'll probably never speak to me again now for giving him that. They were like, I don't want that.
I will also agree with Matt Holloway. I agreed with Harrington about that. He definitely embodies the spirit of Michael Bisping. But I will say runner-up, in my opinion, was not listed. Al Iaquinta.
Oh, for sure. I mean, listen, I think we got to give a special mention to Al Iaquinta. I mean, of course, taking that fight against Khabib on super short notice, putting up a very, very good effort, going the distance, and then looking sensational against Kevin Lee. Incredible year for Al Iaquinta, and big shout out, friend of the show. By the way, I spoke to him in Milwaukee, and he's happy to come on the show again anytime, so we'll get him on. But yeah, you're right, he deserves a special mention for the year, as I said before, everyone that fought this year in the UFC or mixed martial arts. We thank you all for giving us entertainment, for making the sacrifices, for doing what you need to do to go through to put on these amazing fights and this display of courage. It's not easy. I know that firsthand. We break it down. We talk about it. You give us endless hours of fun and entertainment. Everybody, for listening to this show. We have grown massive this year. 2019 is going to be a big year. I'm investing in a studio. Things are going to go up. The production levels are going high. Shannon, you're awesome. Even though I can be a dick at times, we really appreciate it. Harrington, you know how we feel about you. You just suck Lewis's backside and you're good. But I'm joking. We really, really, really appreciate you as well. Lewis, you, Gas Studios, everybody, it's a pleasure to be a part of the team. And I look forward to a great new year in 2019. And everybody that's watching, and wish you all the best from the bottom of my heart. Have a great New Year's Eve and an even better 2019. Lewis, you.
Michael Bisping, thank you very much. Yeah, that's all I care about. 2019, I'll tell you right now, people don't realize, like me and you, neither of us need to do this show. We really love it. We really love doing it, and we really want to do it. And it's nice the fact that we are starting to get some recognition. We are starting to get some, really hardcore fans. The numbers are looking great. We have a massive amount of people that download this show every single week. And it's great that we can actually make some money doing this, and we get to, do this as a job as well. But just realize we love doing it, and we're going to continue love doing it. Just go tell friends about it. That's the one thing. If you guys can give us something back, obviously you can go subscribe and leave us reviews and subscribe at Gas Digital and do all this other shit, right? But the one thing you can do is if you're on a car ride with some family members this holiday season, or if you're going on a road trip, throw on an episode or two. I think your friends, whether they like MMA or not, would enjoy the show. We don't... there's no part of us that's faking it. If we're not in a good mood, you'll know it. If we are in a good mood, you'll know it. And that is the one thing I'll say. If you guys love the show, I'll take just a moment to say, go tell some friends about it. Send the latest episode to a buddy of yours that wants to get a little bit of a laugh. And that will be the one way that you will guarantee for us to continue to do the show for as long as possible, because the more people listen to it, the easier it is for us to do this.
Absolutely, 100%. And also 2019, we're going to start with the live shows. We're coming to England now. I've got a show planned that Lucy's going to be a part of. Plus, we're going to be doing live Believe You Me podcasts, more episodes, better production value, merchandise, T-shirts, you name it. We're fucking taking over. Guys, that's the end of the show. Thank you all. As I said, go out there, drink, have fun, be merry, have a great night. See you in the new year.